Move over, Pocahontas. There's a new squaw on the warpath. AOC is now tapping into her Indigenous Native American history, and there's not enough room in the teepee for both of you. So AOC, in yet another virtue signal, is now identifying with Indigenous people. She said that was her trip to Standing Rock, where she was there to stand with Native Americans against the pipeline coming across Native American land, that she realized she had to do something. It was her great awakening, her woke moment when she realized, hey, I had to run for like Congress or something. And that is exactly what she did. And now she realizes all this time she's an American, and she wants Puerto Ricans to understand that you are Native American too.
I really, really feel you and understand you on this. In fact, I feel like one of the things that first started awakening and connecting me in a deep way to my Indigenous heritage was connecting with the Lakota Sioux in Standing. When I was at Standing Rock, surrounded by Native people, Lakota Sioux, Cherokee, all people coming together, and I looked around, it really just clicked that this is us. Like, and the grace that they extended to say, no, you are relative, was really formative for me. And while we may not be and come from the same exact lineage, there is a commonality to that ancestry, and it's important for us to recognize that we were raised and we were told growing up that we were extinct, that Tainos don't exist. And it's really important for Puerto Ricans to understand that that narrative is being challenged right now.
Wait a second, hold it. I thought AOC was Jewish.
One of the things that we discovered about ourselves is that a very, very long time ago, generations and generations ago, my family consisted of Sephardic Jews. You know, the story goes is during the Spanish Inquisition, so many people were forced to convert on the exterior to Catholicism, but on the interior continued to practice their faith, continued to be who they were, even though they were pressured to not be that on the outside world. And a strong group of people, strong-willed, that were determined to continue living life as they wanted to live it, decided to get on a boat and leave Spain. And some of those people landed in Puerto Rico.
Candelitas, tres candelitas, cuatro candelitas, cinco candelitas, seis candelitas.
Now, far be it from me to accuse AOC of lying. You know, it's an easy confusion to make. In the Bible, the nation of Israel is divided into 12 tribes. Obviously, honest mistake on AOC's part. She read that word tribes in the Old Testament and just said, Sitting Bull Stein. I get it. I understand. It's a simple mistake. No, this is AOC we're talking about here. And there isn't not only an indigenous bone in her body, there isn't a genuine bone in her body. She is a caricature. She was originally thrust upon us by the far left, the Democrats for Democracy Now, or whatever they called themselves, that they basically needed an empty head that they could fill with their agenda, that they would be the puppet master. And then lo and behold, if she didn't think that she got there all by herself and decided to do her own off-the-wall bizarre stuff, and thus AOC has been thrust upon us as a congressperson.
But she is from New York City, and that's kind of big, you know, that she was able to get elected from there.
Yeah, but her constituency is like, it's one of those weird little districts that's got like 10,000 people in it. You know, maybe 1,500 of them vote. And if she can pull off like 700 or 800 voting for her, she's basically got it. I mean, that's literally how she ended up in Congress and then thrust upon the rest of us. It is to the point now where the things that she says are almost, well, not almost, they are completely laughable. And even members of the left don't really take her all that seriously anymore. She's more of a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok rock star, and that's really where her political prowess is. She's not really all that embraced by the mainstream liberal Democrats. The far left, they don't feel that she's far left enough. So she's got a gig now that basically guarantees her an income and forever employment, and she'll just keep coming out and saying these things, but it becomes very indicative, if not stereotypical, of the left. This constant virtue signal, which means in reality for them, nothing. They will exploit whatever they have to exploit just to be able to be, quote, popular, on the right side of something. They don't have to actually accomplish anything. They just have to feel and say they are for the right things. And at the end of the day, they're really about themselves. I mean, let's get real here. Does anyone believe AOC is Jewish? For that matter, does anyone believe that AOC is a Native American and that all Puerto Rican people are, somehow descendants of Indians? I mean, this is not only ludicrous, it is what it is. It is a virtue signal, and it is prejudice. Oh, yes, I was going to go there today. When Elizabeth Warren, i.e. Pocahontas, trying to constantly talk about her so-called Native American heritage that her grandma told her about, she took the DNA test, and it came back 1/100th of a millionth Indian, which I probably have that in me. You probably have that in you. Now, the left at first tried to spin that as, she's been vindicated, she stuck it to Trump. And then most people on the left were like, okay, yeah, we really can't sell this. She's really not Native American. I mean, look at her. She's whiter than a loaf of Wonder Bread, for crying out loud. I mean, she was at one time what you might call a moderate Democrat, moderate Republican, your typical suburbanite. And, all of a sudden, she had her moment where she realized, hey, if I'm Native American, I can go to college for free. Which is what she did. So what deserving Native American didn't get to go to school because Elizabeth Warren, a white privileged woman, took their spot? Bump, bump. But now you have AOC doing this virtue signal. And again, if I were a member of a minority community, and apparently I am now, because if you're a white heterosexual male, we're the ones that they're now trying to, get rid of. And I get that. I understand it. But if I were a member of a minority community, of a minority heritage, I would be outraged and offended at the constant patronizing that you receive from the left. If you don't vote for Joe Biden, you're not black. I mean, he literally said that. I can't say that about, Latino people because they're so diverse and black people do all the same thing. I mean, this is literally how they see you. That you're too stupid to take care of yourself, that you need the government to give you free housing, free food, free education, free, including give me my Obama phone. Because you don't know how to do any of this for yourself. You don't know how to achieve anything for yourself. You don't know how to make it in this world without mighty white, i.e. the liberals in the Democratic Party. And so they're going to do it for you. And they're trying to do the same thing with the Hispanic community by calling you Latinx. I have talked to so many Hispanic people who said, I hate that term. Why are they calling us Latinx? The same reason we're calling the Cleveland Indians the Guardians. Well, calling them Indians is like racist, man. No, actually it's not. If you knew anything about history, which, we have eradicated in this history, and we really put it into hyper warp speed in the summer of 2020 when cancel culture really just took over everything, and we lost Aunt Jemima, who was a first Native American in this country to ever have a product endorsement, and became a well-traveled, sought-after speaker who, in the currency of the late 1800s, flip into the 20th century, was a multi-millionaire by the economy of that era, and used that money for the betterment of, ta-da, Black Americans. And now that's all gone, erased, it never happened. And of course, we had to remove the little Indian girl off the Land O'Lakes products because that was racist. Despite the fact the artist family came forward, they are Native American. They beg Land O'Lakes to please keep the logo as it was, that their father, their grandfather, painted that logo that way on purpose to give Native Americans dignity, to put them in the official, traditional, authentic dress and garb, even right down to the coloring of the beads. It was all authentic, and it was a way to promote Native Americans. But no. Gotta go, gotta be gone. See ya, history. Same thing with the Cleveland Indians. The Cleveland Indians were the first Major League Baseball team to have a Native American play on their team. And when he retired, they decided to honor him by naming the team after his heritage. And by the way, have you gone on or ever talked with most Native Americans? They refer to themselves as Indian. Saying the word Indian in and of itself is not intrinsically racist. It's just not. But now, that whole history of the first Native American, why the Indians were named that, it's gone, and now they're a Marvel comic book hero team, the Guardians. This is where we're at, and you have people like AOC who play right into this, and this is nothing but virtue signaling bullhawk. They will. Hillary Clinton claimed to be Jewish. Bill Clinton claimed to be the first black president. Hey, what is it with Democrats and wanting to be steal the heritage of black people? I mean, there was that chick, what was her name? Gozell, I can't even remember now, who, passed herself off as black when she worked for the NAACP, and it turned out, no, she white. She just identifies black. I'm trans race. Okay. We had the governor of Virginia, Northam, was in blackface or a KKK hoodie. We're not sure which one he is in a picture from his yearbook, but he's one of the two guys, either the dude in blackface or the dude in the hoodie. And, even, liberal entertainers and comedians like Billy Crystal, dressed up as Sammy Davis Jr. and Muhammad Ali. But that's perfectly okay. But had a conservative done any of those things, whoa, baby, whoa. And so now you got AOC, pretending to be Native American. And again, this is really, it is an insult. It is an insult to people of color, minorities, and foreign ethnicities that reside here in the United States. It is an absolute insult because, again, they're not giving you credence for the things that you actually do, celebrating the accomplishments you have actually made. They'll talk about, we need to do more for people of color, we need to do more for blacks, we need to do more for Jewish, but then they take everything that they create supposedly for you, they take it to themselves. Isn't that right, Elizabeth Warren? When using affirmative action as a Native American, you got to go to college for free instead of an actual Native American. This is the Democrats. And so whenever they promise you they're going to make life better for you, take a look around. Is life better? Has Joe Biden built back anything better? And we'll be getting into this later on, but it just astounds me that the number of what I used to think were sane, rational thinking people are just buying into all of this hogwash left and right. So I thought I would today keep this a little bit on the lighter side in my welcome back to YouTube after I was given another vacation by the powers that be at YouTube. But I'm still on Rumble. Make sure you come to Rumble, because eventually that'll probably be the only place you'll get to see me. Make sure you are subscribed to me on Rumble. As soon as you're done with this video, go there, click the link below, make it happen. AOC, how do you do this without being overly insulting? You know, this is the woman that thinks every guy that criticizes her wants to be with me and wants to date me. Well, on that note, bye AOC.